Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now June 12th of 2022, which means we're only getting very much closer to episode 5 and 6 of the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series. It's finally coming to a close. A lot of Star Wars fans are very skeptical and on edge about exactly how episode 4 and 5, or should I say 5 and 6, is going to be executed by both Joby Harold and Deborah Chow. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing that a lot of Star Wars fans have been very intrigued about is exactly the entirety of the roadmap of the Star Wars universe. We have a lot of things happening at the same exact time between TV shows, movies, books, novels, comics, and video games, and so on and so forth, that's really going to give fans a complete view of the franchise. Now, given that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni recently got big promotions over at Lucasfilm, I don't know if you guys knew this, but they got big promotions this past, summer of 2021, leading into the fall of 21, where they got a lot more creative power over all of the Star Wars projects moving ahead. Now, on top of that, one thing that a lot of fans have been very curious about is everything related to Kathleen Kennedy and exactly what's happening behind the scenes with two major Star Wars projects and how it actually involves George Lucas to a degree. We're going to get right into this. Now, George Lucas, in case you guys did not know, is working heavily with both Jon and Dave Filoni on Mando Season 3 and 4, the Ahsoka Tano series, and a lot more to come and arrive as well on Disney+. However, when it all comes down to Kathleen Kennedy, alright, this is where things begin to get quite, dramatic and quite to the degree where Kathleen Kennedy is essentially backstabbing Lucas once again. Now, with that being said, however, with Kathleen Kennedy now hard at work with two major Star Wars projects that are currently in the works, one of which is described to have had many setbacks leading to tons of rewrites and hiring new directors and co-writers. Now, it's described that initially George Lucas was attached to the Acolyte TV show as an executive producer where he was set to make many of the decisions over the story of the show. This was back in late 2020 when Lucas was attached to the series when it was in the early development phase, until Kathleen Kennedy had decided to fire Lucas and let him go as executive producer from the series and went on to find somebody else that is described to be a complete unknown for the series. Now, the main reason behind this big decision had a lot to do with the fact that Lucas did not like the direction that Kathleen Kennedy was going in, and how she was on a path to retconning key facts and story elements of the prequel trilogy movies. Kathleen Kennedy eventually brought in a side story where she is set to focus on a brand new Chosen One that will shift away from Anakin being the true Chosen One, where this is something that Lucas was fighting and trying to prevent from happening, and eventually Kathleen Kennedy did not want to deal with George Lucas anymore. This is when Lucas was eventually kicked off of the project in early 21 as an executive producer, and Disney executives also did not like Kathleen Kennedy's decision on getting rid of Lucas from the show. Since then, the show's production has been tumbling, and Disney is now planning on delaying the project until 2024. Originally, it was supposed to release in 23, however, that is now not looking very likely anymore. Kathleen Kennedy also was pushing a big side story on Lucas about a character dubbed simply as Maeve, who is set to be portrayed by actress Brie Larson, who was created from godlike creatures that are essentially a ripoff of the Wills that Lucas created back in 1977. So let me just stop right here for 1 second. Now, obviously you can see Kathleen Kennedy once again backstabbing Lucas here back in 2021, where George was going to be an executive producer for the Acolyte until he wasn't. And you can see how a lot of this was rooted from George raising his voice over a lot of problems arising from Kathleen Kennedy and what she was actually planning to do with the show, and still plans on this, by the way. This is still moving forward, where they are going to be giving us a brand new Chosen One. They're going to be giving us a ripoff of the Wills, and those Wills ripoff are going to be the ones that create a Jedi God portrayed by Brie Larson, dubbed as Maeve. That's the overall plan right now for the Acolyte series, which, by the way, we are going to be learning heavily about the show by this fall at Disney Plus Day, and of course at D23. So, moving from all of that also, this is where things begin to get a little bit more intense, is that apart from all of that, alright, from this, Kathleen Kennedy is also focused on changing some of the lore that is involved with the character known as Darth Plagueis in the Acolyte. Another thing that involved, of course, all of this with Lucas is that he completely disagreed, that led to him getting fired and essentially kicked off of the series. To this day, Disney CEO Bob Chapek is still not happy about Kennedy's focus on the show. With all the delays, firings of directors, and story changes, Bob Chapek wants to cancel the series, however, breaking Kathleen Kennedy's contract to have creative power over the show would cost way more money than just letting the show air and be developed. Additionally, separate from that, Lucas was also fighting from preventing the Chosen One to be given to this new character Maeve in the Acolyte TV series, who is said to be a Jedi God in a sense, essentially a Jedi created by the gods, that are a ripoff of the Wills, is what Kathleen Kennedy is aiming for to make this character the strongest Jedi in existence, even stronger than Anakin. John and Dave are also unhappy about this major decision and direction. Now, on top of all of this, alright, involving Obi-Wan Kenobi, alright, this was another prime example, is that Kathleen Kennedy specifically did not want George Lucas involved in Obi-Wan Kenobi all that much. And let's not forget that a lot of the scripts of the Kenobi movie transferred over to the Kenobi series. And when they were making the Kenobi movie, she really did not want George Lucas involved at all. Period. The end. And you can see how a lot of which was carried over from the movie didn't really work out so well for the series, because it's competing with elements that are new and fresh when it comes to concepts, fighting the old concepts from the movie. And I think that's a big reason as to why this show in particular doesn't really feel like it has a consistent theme. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. It has like a very different theme in different parts of each and every episode. And I think a lot of that has to do with exactly just that. Everything to do with the movie scripts partially being transferred over. Now, on top of that, everything related to George getting kicked off of the Acolyte is only bad news for everybody. I mean, it only spells a recipe for disaster, let's be honest here. As of this moment, the Acolyte series is to be dated. There's no release date yet. There's not even a release date window. It used to be 2023, and now it's very, very unknown. We don't really know where it's going. And I've said this many times before in the past, I would not be surprised if this show either A, goes into limbo, or B, eventually gets cancelled. Lando, alright, the Lando series unfortunately is suffering, the first thing that I just mentioned, and basically it is in limbo. But it's in limbo for a better reason than just Lucasfilm not knowing what to do. That is, of course, because a lot of the actors are busy with their schedule and they just can't get production ready for that show just yet. So that's also a, to be announced type of situation when it comes to release dates. So overall, guys, let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments related to George. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to morning.